deserve you.
What is this place? Who are you people?
We are the bridge to a greater understanding. What is your mission?
Well, here's the thing. Boys in the trenches called her Dr. Poison. Millions would die. The war would never end.
I'm going, Mother. If you choose to leave and I never return, who will I be if I stay?
Welcome, everyone. This is episode 33 of the Comics in Motion podcast. Today, I am Chris Phelps, as always, and we have another special guest. Now, this is a friend of the show, someone who should have been on a couple of episodes ago, and we recorded a live podcast together. It's Jamie Solis again. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, thank you for having me again.
Now, the backstory to this is obviously this realistically should be your third time. And if you're a UK football fan or soccer fan, you'll be getting your hat trick football for 3 times. But we recorded a whole show reviewing this episode, which we're going to review Wonder Woman today. Technically, I lost every single bit of the episode, so I can only apologise, Jamie.
It's okay. We had a good one in the beginning, and we're going to have an even better one now.
I hope so, yeah. As you can tell, Dave isn't with us today. He's actually away working. So, it's good having this jet set lifestyle, Jamie. But yeah, he should be on next week. I'm not sure if he's away next week, but he should be on. So he sends his apologies. Just means that me and you can talk more about Wonder Woman. Good. So have you been, Jamie? All right?
I've been doing good. Keeping busy down here. The heat's still going on. That's typical Florida. So
yeah, I've got a friend who's over there at the moment at Disney, and he's sending me pictures of like the lightning and the thunder in the morning, like you'd said, and then it's dying off, isn't it, in the afternoon?
Yeah, it never, like a thunderstorm will never last too long down here, which is nice. So it doesn't ruin your entire day.
Yeah, whereas in the UK, if it does, we're staying in for like 9 hours here. We're not moving. No, good stuff. Before we go any further, I've got to mention our sponsor again today, which is Sudio Technology Headphones Company, who've sponsored the show. We've also got the competition running, which finishes actually on Monday, which is for a free headset. Unfortunately, Jamie, I apologise, it's for UK listeners only at the moment, where our manufacturer is the sponsor is based. But we will be doing a US competition soon, so you'll have to get in there and get spreading the word. And also, if you go on Studio's website and do buy a headset or any headphones that they do, because there's a vast range of excellent products, if you put the password in or the code Comics in Motion podcast 15 as in 15 at the end, you get 15% off all orders. So there's no excuse really, Jamie, is there? No,
go for it. Headphones.
Good timing. But yeah, so they're our sponsors. I'll be mentioning them later on today. And if you haven't entered the competition, what the hell have you been doing? Get on our Twitter and Facebook pages at Comics in Motion P on Twitter and Comics in Motion Podcast on Facebook, and the competition details are on there. So no excuses for a free headset or headphones, and you can choose which product you want as well. And our friends at Studio will send it out to you. So, Jamie, it's Wonder Woman. Are you ready to go for it?
Yes, I am ready to do this again.
Great stuff. So I'll just go briefly into this film stuff again. Background Inception. It's the 4th installment of the DC EU, not the MCU, the DC EU. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Film was directed by Patty Jenkins with a screenplay from Alan Heinberg, and the story was written by Heinberg, Zack Snyder, Jason Fuchs, and obviously we know it stars, let me get this name right, I got it wrong last time, is it Gal Gadot?
Yes.
In the title role, alongside Chris Pine. Wonder Woman made a debut in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice in 2016. So the film was released on, which is a bit unusual, I think I said this one, we recorded the first one, in Shanghai on May the 15th, 2017, I'm not sure why, but then it was released in the US on June the 2nd, 2017. It's the 8th highest grossing superhero film on the US, basically, that's ever been, which is really good. And the 24th highest grossing film of all time in the US as well. Maybe I should have checked the UK, whether because I'm based in the UK, but with you being from the US, it makes more sense, doesn't it, really, as the guest? Yeah. It's grossed over 821 million worldwide, which is amazing considering the budget was only 149 million. So it's absolutely surpassed. And in 2017, it was the 7th most profitable film across the whole of every film released that year, which is really good. Well, they've been in development since 1996. A guy called Ivan Reitman was the producer and maybe the possible director at the time. They had a few people looking to play Wonder Woman. Originally, it was going to be Sandra Bullock. And this went on for a few years. Then it moved to like 2001, where a guy called Todd Alcott written a new screenplay. And then they were looking at, which I found quite bizarre, Mariah Carey, which is just not going to happen because she'd have to stay a certain way, don't she? Because she has like mole on her face. She just have her hair across her face.
There's only like one profile I think she's allowed to like side profile.
Her hair is always that way, and it's got to be that way. Yeah, so I don't understand that one. And then Catherine Zeta-Jones was going to play at the same time. It's a bit bizarre. And then in 2015, Josh Whedon was going to direct the film. And his idea, he was saying Kate Beckinsale, but he always wanted Angelina Jolie, but he sort of dropped it around 2007, so that never came out. Then in 2010, they said they were finally going to make a Wonder Woman film. Patty Jenkins came on in 2015 to direct, and Gal Gadot was actually cast in 2013, even though they weren't sure who was going to direct it. And one of the interesting things I found out this time, Jamie, which was quite good, I didn't know this, all of you know this, but they had to do reshoots in November 2016, and Gal Gadot was actually 5 months pregnant.
Yeah, I found that out, and I thought that was really interesting because they had to like green screen her belly a little bit for a couple of the scenes in the suit, which I thought was really funny. But like she was still ready to go and do it even at 5 months pregnant. So
exactly, and that's really good. And I must admit, I didn't see it the first time I researched it, so I thought it was quite a little subplot there. Very good actress. Yeah. And then this is actually the highest grossing film ever by a female director, which is fantastic. And it actually had the highest grossing record for money than actual Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. But it was actually surpassed then by Black Panther. So quite interesting, considering it's an origin film as well. Critically, absolutely amazing. On Rotten Tomatoes, it's at 93%, and that's going off 387 reviews. Average user rating is 7.6. And basically, it's the second highest rated superhero film in the world, which is absolutely amazing, really. And I think
right now, the best female lead superhero movie.
By a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't have to work too hard for that, but it is still significantly better than any other female one that has come before.
Yeah, as well. And obviously, myself having a massive crush on her now as Wonder Woman, I'm absolutely happy to review this one, I've got to say. One last thing I did want to say, I know Dave will tell me off for this, comic book wise, she did appear in All-Star Comics number 8 in 1941, December 1941, when she was created by William Moulton Marsden, who's the writer, and Harry G. Peter was the artist. So, like you said before, these things they've changed for the film and how she meets and stuff, but I think it all comes in nicely in this film, so that's pretty good to be fair. So, are you ready to go into the review, Jamie?
I'm ready.
So we start off in present day. Diana gets a photograph plate, doesn't she, from Wayne Enterprises of herself. What's he called? Thingy Trevor? Steve Trevor, is it?
Steve Trevor.
Steve Trevor, and the guy's obviously in the World War II. And then she sort of looks off in the distance, and then we get like a young Diana then, don't we, at the Amazon, where there's all training going on and everything.
Yeah, and the location's so pretty. I know like it's definitely a blend of like on location and CGI, but I wouldn't mind living there.
Oh, it looks amazing, doesn't it? It does. It really looks amazing.
So beautiful.
And I think as well, Jamie, one thing I like, they're always depicted, aren't they, as the weaker sex, which is not correct. I mean, I've got 5 sisters, a wife and a daughter, and I've got 3 brothers, but I can guarantee that all the women are strong in my family than the men. So I'm all for female leads. And you get the Amazonians, don't you, doing all this training, and obviously the young Diana, as we can see, he's there watching. But I love the fact that they make him look so strong, and which they quite rightly should be. I think it's really good.
They cast a lot of women who are super muscular and super built, like more than Gal is, and it's really interesting to see like all this like different group of women like from all sizes like that are super like I would not want to mess with again if like they're all like really impressive because they all come from like these like high like physical backgrounds, which was great to cast all these women.
No, exactly. And you'll have to forgive me on these names because I get more wrong. So Diana wants to be trained as a warrior, doesn't she? So is it Hippolyta? What did you say?
Hippolyta.
Who's that? Is that a mum or a?
That's her mother. That's
a mother. And then Antiope, is that her auntie? Antiope, that's it.
Is the general and Hippolyta's sister.
Yeah, she's all for training her, isn't she? So she's like, but the mum's quite reluctant, which you can understand, really. Now, is there anything you picked out of any of them scenes at the start, Jamie?
I enjoyed all the slow motion. That was like the first time, and I liked that it kind of showed the power behind all the Amazons. that we get to see like all their movements, because this was like the first time we really get to see them live action on screen. So it was really important to see like how powerful they are, and I think the slow motion really helps in the movie to showcase all that. So
yeah, exactly. No, you're right. And I think as I was eating a crisp there, Jamie, very quickly, I'm trying to mute the mic. But yeah, we do, and we get like the main sort of baddie comes into it then, doesn't he? A bit like a sort of flashback scenario, we're not the main baddie, but the guy who they banish, Ares, yeah. So he gets them fighting everyone, and we get this little backstory about who he is and why the Amazonians are there, aren't they, to protect like their world sort of thing, which I think is really good. And I agree with you. I think a lot of the CGI stuff, because I've got it on now in the background, is brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Obviously, it's a lot of green screen stuff, but I think the technology now, we know that across the MCU and stuff like that is second to none. But I think what I like is the fact that she's a very strong-willed little child, isn't she, at the moment? But you can see it's destiny's taken her to where she wants to be, sort of thing. Nothing's going to stop her, even at such a young age. And then we sort of get her as a teenager, don't we? We get her as then obviously as a young adult sort of thing, fighting, don't we?
Yep. She's been hiding it for like a good amount of years.
Yeah.
Between the kid and the teen, but it's a good transition.
No, it's really good. But no, you're right. So, and then obviously we get this thing where she's fighting with everyone, isn't she? And her powers she sort of backs into a corner, and her powers then come, don't they, from within. This inner strength that we've not really seen so far. And she sort of realizes that she is going to be something different.
Yeah, because nobody else has that. Everybody's look of surprise on their face, and even her face, which is I loved her, like the way that because she has like this like immediate shock from it, but then almost like this like happiness that comes on her, like this smile that comes on her face, like, oh wow, I got this. Yeah,
exactly. No, it's really good. And then obviously we get this thing where Steve Trevor's then plane comes down, done it into the water. Now, what I find strange is, Jamie, how has he got through everything? I know we get this thing, don't we? But it's literally the planes just come straight through, hasn't it? The sort of force field.
Yeah, it's weird that the force field really is just an illusion or a mirage. It's because there's only like really fog when you see the other side, but it's penetrable. You can easily stick your hand through or fly a plane through it. So it's interesting to see that this. We don't know if it's the first time that this has happened.
Yeah.
Like where a ship or a plane has come through Themyscira. I mean, I like to think that on the other side of the island or something, there's probably like a pile of abandoned ships that have just shown up, and they just didn't want to.
Yeah, just didn't want to get in there. Because obviously she comes and rescues him, and she takes him back onto the island, but then it pans out to sort of where the island finishes, which looks brilliant, that it's dead bright, dead vibrant. And then you've got this dull where the force field, because obviously they're not supposed to see through it, but the Germans are following him, and then one of the soldiers sort of puts his hand through, doesn't he? This sort of, I suppose it's a bit like a mirage, like a camouflage type situation, isn't it? And I think you mentioned it. I know, which I'm trying to remember back to when we actually recorded the first, but you said the same, like, how has no one ever come across this before?
Right. Yeah, because it's not like the Black Panther, like it's not Wakanda's like super high tech barrier force field. It's you can get to it.
You can just get to it quite easy. I suppose it fits the plot, and obviously,
it's just a small thing. We gotta keep going in the film.
Exactly. And it wouldn't be me if I don't pick up on something. And then, they're on the beach together. Diana and Steve have a little moment, and then they pan round, don't they, and see the German sort of U-boat with the ready to attack, which we know, and I know is going to be bad for the Germans, if let's be honest, because there's Amazonians then, a shock that someone's actually got through sort of thing to their island and that, and a bit of a battle ensues, doesn't it? Which is nice, because I think what we said last time was the same, as they can actually be hurt, all the Amazonians, can't they? Yeah. It's not just like for example, I know I've just watched, I don't know about you, I've just watched Luke Cage season 2. Now I know it's based in Harlem. It's completely different to this. And Luke Cage is impenetrable to bullets and guns. There's a couple of people who create these sort of super bullets that can hurt him, but literally he's impenetrable. But literally for the whole 13 episodes, much as I loved it, everyone just wants to fight him and shoot him. And it's like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work, unless he's a bad guy, which there is in this, who's got the same powers. But this is what I like, the fact that I don't know about Wonder Woman, but she seems to be superhuman. But all the others, they still seem to be able to get hurt, don't they? It's just that they've got faster reflexes and stuff. Yeah,
it's almost like they're like a Captain America in a sense, where like they're all their senses are like heightened and their strength is super heightened, but they still have a more mortality to them, which was surprising from the first one dies in
Yeah.
the beach battle.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry,
And
Jamie.
another thing with the beach battle, like it's nice that we get like for an origin story, we get a legit big battle in the first 20 minutes of a movie, and it's not showcasing the main superheroes; it's showcasing all these other great Amazons and like what they're capable of. So I thought that was really interesting especially for an origin story.
I think as well, you're right, because in a lot of these things, when you've got an army in a lot of the superhero stuff, they're sort of portrayed as second fiddle, aren't they? Like they're sort of just a backup. But you can see at this moment, we're not sure how powerful, obviously, Wonder Woman is, or Diana at this moment. We're not sure, are we? So she's still part of the group. And this is where it happens quite quick, which I really enjoy, because you've not got this long, drawn-out process, have you, building a backstory. She's basically... She's there. She's going to have to step up now, and that's where I really enjoyed the fact that it gets to the point within how far in we're 22 minutes into the film. We're already. She's ready to go, isn't she? And obviously, Diana then they interrogate Steve, don't they? With this, I'll get it right this time. Lasso of
Truth.
Yeah, truth. With the lasso of Hestia, is it?
Oh yeah, I forget that. Yeah, I forget it has another name.
Yeah, you took me off last time for that, but you're right. Yeah. So we get this thing, don't we? That he's been in with the Germans, and with these experiments and stuff, and which is really interesting. And we get introduced then, don't we, to the Colonel, Eric Ludendorff. Which anyone who's in Marvel, he's actually Stryker, isn't he? Who experiments on Wolverine.
Yep, Danny Huston is working both the Marvel territory and the DC territory.
He's doing a bit of Lawrence Fishburne, what he's just done in Ant-Man and Wasp, and obviously Superman as well. He's Perry White, isn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess for Danny, it's a spoiler alert. It's not a big commitment when you can just do one movie and not have to worry about coming back for the sequel.
What do you mean, Jamie? I've not seen this film.
I mean, he decides he doesn't want to be a bad guy anymore. Nothing bad happens to him. It's fine.
No, of course not. And obviously, it plays out how he's ended up with them chasing him, and how he's ended. He ends up on the actual island, and then it sort of talks about within the Amazonians that Diana's got to leave, basically, had to go with Steve to find out and get to the bottom of this, and they end up going off then, don't they, to London.
It's okay. What a vast transition, or sorry, what a big difference between the beautiful Themyscira and like they make, and then London during the like early 1900s, and even I can't stand.
No, and he's building a nice little relationship with Diana and Steve as well, because they end up on a boat together sailing, and they're sort of getting quite cozy. And then he shows also there's a human side to her. She's not just this. I think that's what I must admit. I do like the backstory. I know a lot of the DC films get a bit of a bad reputation for the actual overall production, but I thought in stuff, especially in Man of Steel, I thought the backstory of Superman, especially the dynamics of his Jonathan and Martha Kent, obviously Kevin Costner and that, I thought the dynamics of that relationship is really well acted. And I think with this, it's well acted, especially with Diana. She's a great actress, isn't she?
Yeah, they have really great chemistry together. And I know that part of the boat scene was improvised.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they I think specifically when they were talking about like the pleasures of the flesh and all that on the boat was partially improvised.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's very good, though.
So it goes to show like they've that scene works really well together, and the fact that they could kind of do it on the fly was good. They have a good little team up there.
No, it's really good. And obviously we have a couple of scenes with Ludendorff where I can clearly see, I don't know about yourself, but coming from the UK, a lot of the filming was done in London and around the UK, around that area, on the London area. And I can see a lot of the buildings, it's supposed to be depicting like a bit of a prisoner of war concentration camp from World War II, but it actually is the UK. I know it sounds daft, but you can tell by the brickwork and the way he's walking. It looks like an abandoned warehouse. There's a lot of them outside the main city, so that's quite good. And obviously when she gets to London, she's still got the outfit on, but she gets the overcoat on. So they end up going to like these sort of tailors, don't they? And she comes in the full outfit, which is, I think the outfit as well, I think something that I picked up on last time, it's very much like a suffragette type outfit, like the women's movement, because that was around the same time, which obviously was what she was based on. Once she was based on the main writer's wife, wasn't she? She was like part of the reason where the character came from.
Yeah, and I love I enjoyed that little scene of her trying on all the outfits. Just like, this is not functional for like fighting people. And I love that the one that they pick is like this like really like simple, like looking. Well, I guess it is like a dress and boots, but it fits her so well. And then her funny Clark Kent glasses.
Hey,
you can tell who it is. Yep.
Yeah, like I got on today. Yeah, you're right. and it's a nice little scene actually, because we get introduced to Dawn out of the office. I think we mentioned this last time. It's a comedian called Jasper Carrot in the UK. His daughter, and she's been in a lot of things. But what I love about Diana though, she's got this album. She's trying to go just through a moving door, isn't she? And she's,
the revolving door, yeah.
The revolving door. She's got like the sword and everything. I mean, no one. But what I don't understand is no one's batted an eyelid. The fact that this woman has got a sword and a shield in the middle of the day. You know, it's just like, oh yeah, it's just normal. That I'm just thinking,
I got it. Like, I'm gonna get through the store with all this.
Yeah. It's really strange. But then, obviously, we get this thing now where Steve Trevor then takes her, doesn't he, to this big meeting where obviously they're all sort of like, you know, there's a woman here sort of thing. Oh no, in fact, no.
Yeah, they're being followed by a German who has recognized Steve from the other side, so that they want to stop him and get that book back because he still has Dr. Poison's book. And we get a nice little fight sequence in the alley where Diana gets to use all her wristbands and show off her moves and everything, which is like, again, a nice like little fight sequence before we get the big one with her reveal and her full Wonder Woman gear. Exactly,
and that one as well. That fight scene in the alleyway is a direct compliment and throwback, a bit of an Easter egg to Superman, the first Superman with Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder, obviously Lois and Clark, where they go in the alleyway and he catches the bullet. And the way she deflects this thing, he's basically paces as I can say. And that's what it was. It was a little nod to the Superman films, which I am a massive Superman fan. I always say it in the podcast. So absolutely, I was lapping all that up. They always bring a nice smile to your face, them sort of things, don't they?
Yeah. It's definitely a nice little piece right there.
So then, sorry, from there, you're right, I missed that bit. They go to see this big meeting, don't they, where they're trying to sort out the Germans and stuff, aren't they, from, you know, trying to come to like a peace treaty thing, aren't they? And obviously the women are forbidden in this age, you know, which is pathetic, but they are actually forbidden from going in these meetings, aren't they?
They're like huffing and puffing and grumbling to themselves.
Yeah. How dare this woman? Yeah. And we've all got the typical English daft moustaches, and we get introduced to Sir Patrick then, don't we? We know he's a bit of an ally of Steve's, isn't he, at the moment? And he's, you know, Steve sort of trusts him, doesn't he?
A quiet, meek old man who's just excited that he got to say words because Diana interrupted like the whole grumbling in her presence. And I liked in that scene too, where she is really like fighting back against the general in the room, because she grew up with a general who would fight on the beach with the rest of her soldiers and die with them, when he's just huffing and puffing about how, like, well, I mean, that's war if the soldiers get killed. And I like that she stands up to him and then is like, no, that's not the way it needs to be.
No, exactly. And I agree with you, because she's come from somewhere where, even though there is a hierarchy in the Amazonians, this is typical of what people who run wars even now, isn't it? The ones who make the decisions are not the ones who are going to be carrying the guns or flying the planes and stuff. So it's a different take on where she comes from. If someone's a general or a leader, they would be on the first ones on the battlefield, wouldn't they? Whereas these guys are all old, typical English gentry who, you know, there's obviously a political and financial benefit to all of them to create a war, which most of them are, aren't they? Not to get political, though, obviously. You know, but there's always something. It's either religion, money, or some political dynamic into these things. So it's quite good the way they've done this. And I think the storytelling of the film, I've got it running as we're going. So we're an hour into the film now. And I've got to say, I think that the directing, the pacing, everything is brilliant. And Gal Gadot's really coming into her own. She's not just a bit part player like she was in the Fast and Furious. She's a great actress, a really good actress. And I think we then go meet the team, don't we? Steve gets a bit of the team together. And I think didn't you mention last time that one of the guys was a pretty big character in the comics?
It was always rumored. I read some articles where it was rumored that the guy that plays Chief is potentially a god in disguise. And then I know that Samir is also potentially a part, like the Blackhawk team.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I know that is rumored to be in the works of somebody of wanting to get that as part of the DC universe and film, is doing a Black Hawk movie, which would be really cool. And I think he's been interested in wanting to come back for that.
I think as well we might get that though, obviously, because no spoiler alerts, but there is obviously a second one being made, isn't there? So these
Right.
Wonder Woman 1994, is it?
84.
84, 19. Jamie, this is where we need Dave, and Dave knows his stuff. I'm just winging this out. But no, 1984, so we say. So obviously, I'm thinking of Captain Marvel, aren't we? That's set in the 90s.
Right, yeah, we're getting some time period female-led movies, so I can see the confusion.
That's my excuse, everyone.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah. So we've got this one. So maybe he might come into that, and obviously. There is certain rumours that Steve may come into that, but we will go into that another time. Obviously, I'm jumping ahead. But they recruit the team, and they're in the pub, and then one of the guys who's out of, I don't know if you've ever seen one by a director called Danny Boyle, the Train Spotting.
Yeah. It's almost like he rolled off the set of Train Spotting and came into this and joined the Wonder Woman team, because he's almost like he's like very like out there, an out there character, but I really, he's a good actor. I really enjoyed him in Train Spotting too.
Yeah, he is. I've not seen the second one actually, and I think that was probably filmed around about the same time as this. So you never know. He could have just jumped. The first one's great. I've never seen the second one yet.
Yeah, I haven't either yet.
So obviously they recruit them. They're in the pub. Charlie gets a good kick in. They think the guy who's beating Charlie up is Charlie, and then it's like, no, that's him. He gets leveraged.
Don't you want that guy on your team?
No, we need this guy, yeah. But I think it's good. And then obviously Sir Patrick then comes in the pub, doesn't he, to sort of oversee what's going on and meets like sort of the crew and everything. And then the next scene, Jamie, which is what we talked about last time. I know I'm saying this as if people have listened to the episode, but haven't. So give us both, because obviously we've recorded this previously. Is we get the famous ice cream scene, don't we, in the train station? Yep,
another direct little scene from the comic books, which was also like a nice moment of levity too in this movie. That like I love like her portrayal of like getting to see the real world, or like come out into the human world and getting excited when she sees a baby and when she sees ice cream. It just makes her like much more charming and likable.
Yeah, exactly.
Glee for the first time with these things. So it's definitely a nice nod to the comics and just like a nice character trait to put in the film as well.
Obviously stuff like the World War II. My grandparents, one of my granddads was in the war, and he died like 12 years ago. He was 78 when he died, but he'd been there World War II and stuff. And it's creating this atmosphere of how dark and desolate the UK was, probably America was at certain. I know obviously the UK was taking a lot of direct bombing raids from the Germans, but I think when they do these films and stuff like this, and then we've had, what's it called? The one thing he was out, Tom Hardy was in it, the Dunkirk as well, and the way they depict how desperate times were. People always say, "Oh, I'd love to go back in time," but really, would you want to live in that time? And I think there is going to be artistic license relief, but I think they create it so well. The sort of desperation of the fact the whole country's in a war.
The color palette really helps too for keeping with all of that very like monochromatic and like low tones, and then it helps just bring out Diana even more when she comes out with this like beautiful red warrior outfit. It helps with that contrast a lot. But yeah, like and I love seeing superhero movies that are like set in different time periods. I'm excited that we're getting more of that, because it's cool to go back in time to get some different perspectives. So.
I agree, and I think as well what's really nice about this, and I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head there, is because we're going back to like when the World War II era and stuff, is the supporting characters haven't got these all singing and dancing. Like if you look at the Avengers, great film, but any of the human sort of heroes or supporting characters, they've got gadgets and stuff to try and equal up the fact that they're actually just human, because of the technology in 2018, because of Stark, because of Wakanda, things like that, and Sori stuff. But it's this, there isn't. It's we've got Steve and we've got Charlie and we've got Samir and that and Chief, but they've just normal. They've obviously got something extra, but they're using what's available to them, and I think that's really
exactly good. Yeah. It's a great team of like people that like do have legit sets of skills that are attainable for any human, of just like being good at with like different languages and being a good marksman, or just being a good soldier. And these are all like human qualities that are important to have. And it's great, yeah, to see that they're not relying on technology; they're relying on what they're capable of.
Exactly, and we're getting this situation where they're in Belgium, aren't they, on the front line now? And I think as well. So running wise, that I nearly called you Diane then too. Wonder Woman. Sorry, sorry about that. So we're 75 minutes into the film. We haven't really seen much of Wonder Woman other than at the start properly. But it doesn't feel like it's necessary. They don't need to oversaturate, because I think the acting and what's happening has been built up so well. It's not like in certain films where you're like, oh, he's only like Superman or he was only Spider-Man for whatever. I'm just as an example, you know.
Yeah.
And I think with this, because the acting's so good and it's contained within a closed set, it really comes across well on screen that, yeah, we're building up to something that's going to happen. It's pretty obvious, but you're not like going, oh, it's not really.
We're not waiting like. It's definitely not dragging. The pacing of this film is really good to give you a lot of big sets and action sequences well before you even get the like, oh, now it's time for her reveal. You almost forget until it, like right before it happens, like this is like her moment. And it's really, I really applaud the pacing that they give this film for an origin story too is really unique.
It's brilliant. And obviously they're getting a load of aggro now, the soldiers. They're sort of being defeated, aren't they? And then she starts getting changed now. And she goes over the top, which is an absolute iconic moment, not only in the film, but also in cinema, to be honest. I think it's fantastic because she goes across that line, doesn't she? We get the whole, the slow motion Vidal Sassoon hair, advert sort of thing, and she's looking great, isn't she? And the bullets, and there's a bullet coming directly at her. And straight away, she just palms it off like she's playing tennis, doesn't she? Whatever. And she's got the full Wonder Woman outfit. So that Steve and the guys are obviously absolutely thinking she's going to get killed. And then she basically, as I say, starts taking names. and the Germans are absolutely going mad, aren't they? Firing all sorts at them. But it gives her and the team a belief that they can actually win this battle finally.
Yeah, it's definitely it's the highlight of the movie for me. It's definitely the best scene, and it's a long one too. It's great because like from like the start of the no man's land at the in the trenches all the way down to like the village, it's like a full like 8-minute sequence, and it's really well done for a longer kind of battle like that. And the score helps so much too with that, with like the music that they put in and everything. So it's definitely my favorite scene from the film.
And I'm with you. I absolutely loved it in Batman v Superman. I love that little Wonder Woman music, when she reveals herself. Absolutely love that sort of driving. It's like a, oh my God, you're in trouble now type music. It's brilliant, isn't it? Her sort of music score, like the Superman, that's her thing, innit? It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
It makes me want to like fight people. Like it's like if I put this music on, like it's like I'm ready for battle. Like I can take people. But no.
But yeah, no, it's really good, really good. I just hope poor Paul there, your husband, doesn't get it now because
I put the music on and like, oh.
Yeah, you're in trouble now, Paul.
Yeah.
Make me a smoothie.
You put the smoothie on?
I'd make it, Paul, if I were you. But yeah, so we get the full battle. And I agree with you. Obviously, it's not filmed in one. But the way it's put together and cut, it feels as if they've just said to her, right, you're going to go here, and these steps along the way. And she ends up going through like the town, doesn't she, into these buildings and stuff, fighting various Germans and that.
It feels like a really like good continuous thing. It's put together really well, and I like the fight sequences inside when she's fighting multiple people at the same time, which is really cool. Like to use her shield and her wristbands for deflecting bullets while also beating people up.
Yeah, no, it's really good, and obviously Steve and the guys are then trying to stop this sniper, aren't they, up there? And she gets a bit of a boost. They have a sort of door off one of the armored vehicles, don't they? And she just comes up and she just takes a whole clock tower out and a whole building with the sniper in. So he's obviously, the sniper's just gone. He's gone.
Yeah, I don't think he made it. I mean, we don't know, but
no, I don't think he is.
But it's interesting to see, like, she's got no problem like killing to a certain degree. I think she understands like the consequences from it. I mean, and this is also war, so it's a time like it fits with the whole tone and everything, but she's ready to go.
No, exactly. And then we get the picture, don't we? They've saved the town. Steve, we get a couple of situations with Patrick, but Steve and her go close, and you can see there's a romantic sort of connection, can't you? And we get the picture then as well, don't we? That we've seen at the start, how it's cut, which is really good and nice. And what's interesting is it feels as if it's the end of the film, but we've got nearly an hour to go, and you're sort of thinking, can they put more into it? But they can. And I think it works really well because there's a lull in the action, isn't there? We've had this sort of raise your heartbeat moment, but we've still got a lot more to do in the film. And I don't think it's one of the ones where some films you can watch and go, right, that's it, we're done. But this one, you're thinking, oh, I want more.
Yeah, now that you brought it up, it is funny because before seeing the movie, you almost think, like that picture is going to be like the last scene we get, and it's like taken at the end. But no, it's in the center of the film, and I do like the tie-in that we got this picture like from Batman versus Superman, and like we kind of got this build up and this anticipation of like, ooh, where did this come from? Like, how does this all like come to be? And it kind of helped to like get more excitement for Wonder Woman before it came out, which we thought was cool. And it's a nice just connection for the universe, for the whole universe together. So
no, it's great. And then these little Easter egg sort of things, they knit everything together. If you're invested in the characters, I know obviously the MCU, I mean, I've always been more of a DC fan up to the last few years, especially the Dark Knight, as you are. That Dark Knight trilogy is my favourite superhero trilogy, even now, as much as I like Infinity War and stuff like it. I mean, the Ant-Man stuff we've just reviewed, I was quite surprised how well I like them. And I like all films and things like that. But the DC stuff is always my bread and butter from being a kid. So it's nice to be watching a DC film and enjoying it properly, not just sort of making excuses or skating over plot holes. There's no holes in this film as far as I can see at the moment. It's a great film.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And then obviously Steve's dressed up. Then we've got this gala dinner, haven't we, where Diana wants to sort of infiltrate it and get Ludendorff, and Steve wants to get the gas dunny that's going to destroy everyone. And so he goes into full-on German sort of Nazi disguise as like this general, and he gets taken in by Samir, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was a nice little scene of them working their way through. I thought his accent was really funny.
Yeah, his accent's great, isn't it? It's really good. Because obviously he's a spy, isn't he? So he's been the spy in the start of the film. One of the reasons they sort of got all this information, because he infiltrated the camp, didn't he, and stuff with Ludendorff. But then Diana sort of gets this woman, doesn't she, this outfit, and this blue outfit. And you know what? I remember there was a little nod in this blue outfit to the comics, I think, because the outfit stands up and stands out more than anything, because Diana's just completely differently to everyone else. Everyone's got dark clothes on, and she's wearing this sort of bright blue, sort of turquoisey outfit, isn't she?
Yeah, it's definitely a nice, like, again, like contrast with the color palette where like you're going to make everybody more muted, and then like her, whatever she's wearing is going to stand out the most. And it's probably like the second most iconic outfit she wears in the film. Just exactly. And then because you see that now at all like Comic-Cons and everything like that, like that's a good cosplay outfit, is her in that blue dress and the sword sticking out in the back.
Yeah, that's it. It's come to me, Jamie. Sorry to cut across you. It's came to me that the outfit she wore was the same dress that Linda Carter wore in the 1970s. I remember when I researched it last time that it was a direct sort of thank you moment to her, which is really good. Again, you'd only know that one if you researched it or if you're a massive Wonder Woman fan. So,
and I think they're still paying, from the pictures I've seen for the set photos for Wonder Woman 84. It looks like they're still paying homage to Linda Carter's outfits from her from the TV show too. So I'm excited about that they're going to keep that going.
No, I mean, I must admit, I'm not going to reveal what I think of the score yet, but even now, I'm definitely going to the cinema to watch the new Wonder Woman. Definitely. Oh, yeah. It's a must. He's going to be that good, I think. This thing, aren't they? This gala, and Steve's mingling, he's speaking, and Diana's, which like you said, she's got the sword in her back, and no one's really noticed that she's dancing with Ludendorff. It's just a normal thing for a woman to have like a 4-foot sword down the back of a dress.
It's a beautiful brooch.
Yeah. So it's a hell of a sharp one as well.
Yeah.
A good spot there, yeah. But yeah, so she's dancing with Ludendorff. She thinks he's Ares, doesn't she? At this moment, where everything's pointing towards that he's Ares, the sort of god. He's in disguise and everything. And Diana's trying to suss him out, isn't she? And work out what's going on really with the whole scenario of him and everything else. And then Diana escapes then, doesn't she, sort of like, well, gets out from the actual gala, and they realise that something's going on. Steve escapes as well, and the Germans are sort of after him now, aren't they? They've got to go and find this gas. Steve does, and she wants to get Ares, basically. Mm-hmm. We have a bit of a battle then, don't we, going on?
Yeah, and then it's so heartbreaking when you see like the gas went to the village that they worked so hard to save, and she feels so lost of like what to do.
Yeah, she's proper like on it, isn't she? She's proper determined now. And I think as well, this is where another development of a character's coming in, where it's another dimension to her, another little layer on top, which is really good because she's got to avenge it. And Ludendorff's obviously in a sentry tower now, and she goes up there, doesn't she, to confront him and everything. And he takes that sort of, which we think something to do with Ares at this moment in time, but he takes this sort of gas type thing, doesn't he, and becomes like superhuman strength like her, and they have a fight, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the poison that not poison, but the drug that Dr. Poison gives him, and you almost think, it's going back to, because she says it's for his strength, so you think, well, Ares has already been weakened, that this is like his like just little pick me up he needs to really defeat anybody. So it's a good little kind of red herring to make you think like Ludendorff is still Ares.
Yeah, exactly. And there isn't, I'm trying not to go too far in front, but this battle's really good because, like me and Dave have said this, Jamie, in a lot of the films, the baddies are quite weak in a lot of these. They just serve a purpose as someone to help the character in the origin film reveal themselves. But this isn't, because it's convincing the fact that he can even the score. But then Diana gets obviously the advantage over him, doesn't she, at this point? Even though he's got this sort of it's like an adrenaline sort of type thing, going to give him super strength and that. He's becoming unraveling that he isn't Ares as far as we can see. But he's just like an absolute egomaniac who wants to rule the world type situation.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. We get technically three villains in this movie with all like distinct characteristics, which sometimes and they don't overpower each other. Like we know we have a hierarchy. We know who's number one, which is Ares, and then we have two others that do really have like significance for the film. And with Dr. Poison basically creating this gas, and Ludendorff like leading and they're taking no prisoners. So it's really interesting that we get three, but yeah, and they all fit really well for her in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, as this fight ensues, Diana, she kills Ludendorff, which a lot of people, there's a bit of controversy, a bit like there was comparisons to the General Zod killing, the Man of Steel. But she had to be done. But Diana then is completely confused and disillusioned because she's not sure why nothing's changed, because she believes that he was Ares, don't we? And Steve's there chatting to her and trying to explain to her. She looks really confused, and she looks quite vulnerable at this point. I think it's the only point in the film where she looks quite vulnerable because she doesn't actually know what's going on.
Yeah, because she had this like naivety to her before, but she was really confident as well. Like she's like, no, I'm going to kill Ares and I'm going to make the world a better place. And now it's like everything I thought was wrong.
Yeah.
And now she's really confused about what humans are and what they're capable of, and maybe it's not. And Steve points out to her, maybe it's not just Ares, maybe it's in all of us.
Yeah, exactly. And then Steve goes off, and there's obviously a fight going on, and then we get this situation where all of a sudden, from nowhere, an absolute plot twist stroke spoiler, Sir Patrick then just turns up in the sentry tower, don't we? And we then get this dialogue with Diana, and this is where you're thinking, hang on a minute, there's a twist coming here. Who is this guy type thing? And it all comes to pass that he is Ares, isn't he? Because she goes in to get him and he disappears, doesn't he, and stuff. So he's been pulling the strings all along, as they say, Jamie, dun, dun, dun,
I might as well put that in like...
Yeah, oh my God, yeah. And she puts the lasso of truth on to him, which does absolutely nothing because she still doesn't believe what's going on. And then we realise that he is Ares, and Steve and the guys are infiltrating the sort of airfield, aren't they, with all the planes and everything. And we get this great battle now, which is really good. It's a great battle. Again, like you said, we had obviously going over the top, the bunker situation where she reveals herself and the whole fight from there through the village. And this again is, I think it's on the par. I do agree with you though. I think the middle bit fight sequence is slightly better than this, but this is still great. It's not like it's bad. It's just that whole reveal of her and fighting for everyone's fantastic. And this is a lovely choreographed couple of scenes, I think, with Steve and Ares and Diana. And I think as well, he's more believable as a baddie than when I watched Justice League with
Steppenwolf. I don't remember the actress.
Yes, Steppenwolf. Yeah, I know he was a CGI, but I think the thing with this is because, there is CGI, obviously he's floating in the air and he's doing all this stuff. And he's still Sir Patrick at the moment as he's fighting Diana, even though he's beating her. He doesn't actually reveal himself totally as this guy who he is. And Steve comes to a rescue, and then we get the full transformation then, don't we, to this sort of god that he is. Yeah,
it's really cool. He takes all the like metal pieces and he forms his suit again, which is really cool. They take to showcase his power. But yeah, it was cool. It was a cool way to introduce his suit, to not like directly put him in it the whole time, but keep him as this like meek little guy that nobody's going to think anything from, and then for him to just basically take Diana on.
Be horrible. And what I like about this, Jamie, I agree with you, is his eyes. His eyes are always Sir Patrick's. So you know the character, who he is this evil old man in the film, but he's obviously not. He's a god that's lived for thousands of years. And like you say, he's absolutely nailing Diana. She's getting absolutely beat up here completely, isn't she?
And it helps for my generation that you didn't think it was going to be, he was going to be Ares, because I grew up with him as Professor Lupin.
Hang on a minute, on set. What cup do you think I've been drinking out of?
Yay!
Hogwarts. Oh yeah, no, we're massive fans of.
I mean, I used to work at Harry Potter World at Universal.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So it's like a part. This has definitely been a part of me for a long time. But yeah, I'm so used to him as that character. Like he's always going to be that character for me. And I was like, oh no, he's so nice.
He's a werewolf. He's a werewolf, isn't he?
Yeah.
Professor Lupin. Oh look, see the old Joker behind me there.
Yeah.
Why so serious? I got that made. I know people are not going to know what we're talking about. That was a guy in Las Vegas, 2013. He drew that on the strip for me with aerosols.
Oh wow.
Because there's a little mark above his eye that's got a black blotch, and that's where the paint dripped. So it's like an original because it's a mistake, but you can see on the picture that's Heath Ledger. He says, I don't know if you can see it, it says "Why so serious" in red, but I don't think you can see it on the picture.
I can't see that part, but I can see the black drop.
Yeah. Doing it to soccer players for my team, Manchester United. But no, when it comes to Harry Potter, I've got what have I got? I've got Lord Voldemort's wand. Jordan, my daughter, she's got the whole room's Harry Potter. The whole room, I decorated it for her, and we've put loads of Harry Potter. I mean, she's 17. We've been to Harry Potter World and stuff. I'll send you, actually. I know you've been to the proper Harry Potter World and actually worked there, but I'll send you the one in the UK.
Yeah, because you've been to the Warner Brothers one is there. I always wanted to visit.
Yeah.
The big one with like all the actual set pieces and everything.
Oh, it's great. I'll send you a direct link to one of my vlogs, because that's got my whole it's something like a 12-minute video when we went in 2016, but it's a great place. But anyway, I suppose we better talk about the review, don't we? But yeah, he is Professor Lupin, as we segued off, which is correct. And I'm with you. He does a good thing of being a baddie, because obviously in Harry Potter he's a goodie until he turns to the werewolf, doesn't he? With obviously Sirius Black is his best mate and stuff. It's my favourite one, that Prisoner of Azkaban. So,
mine too.
Yeah. So that's my favourite one. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, we're not turning this into a Harry Potter fest, everyone. Sorry, Dave, if you're listening. I have to review a Harry Potter film, because I'm sure there's been comics made. I absolutely love Harry Potter.
Yeah, they're great books and
really
films.
Good books. I think he's a good film as well. Fantastic Beasts. That's a good film.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that one. I liked my favorite part was like some of the random creatures that you get in the whole Wizarding World that are really fun. And as a side thing, again, like in Diagon Alley at our Universal, they actually have a whole store that's just dedicated to all these like plushes that you can buy that are all these weird animals.
Yeah.
And everything. And then they have some animatronics in like the windows and like in the store itself that are all these crazy things. And it's a really cool, like it's really the theming for Diagon Alley is really well done.
No, it's brilliant.
That's a cool store.
Exactly. Yeah, apologies, everyone, if you're not Harry Potter.
Too much fun.
Me and Jamie will have to have a different podcast to talk about Harry Potter, I think.
Harry Potter,
yeah, definitely. But no, so we get the whole fight scene at the end, and Diana then, she starts losing, but then she starts sort of getting things back, doesn't she? Revealing herself as she's a god, isn't she, really? She's a queen of the Amazon. So she then gets the better of Ares and absolutely just takes him out, doesn't she? She beats him, saves the world type situation. We get the poor Steve, though, who has to sacrifice himself, doesn't he? Or does he, shall we say?
Yeah, we won't know how that all worked itself out. But I did appreciate. I was kind of, when I saw it in the theaters, I was surprised he died. I thought, I mean, I understand why they did it, because if the time jump too between the two films. But his death like made me cry. I was really upset because it did have so much weight to it. It really kind of equaled him as like, I'm willing to fight to the death alongside of you and do what's right, and it made it so much more impactful.
No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you on that. And I think as well, we get the thing. She goes back to London, doesn't she? And we've got this thing where there's a wall, like a hero's wall of all of the people, and she sees Steve with his plane, doesn't she? And she's absolutely upset. She's crying. Everyone's celebrating, but she's absolutely upset. And quite rightly, he's a great character in the film, and it shows a nice human side to her as well. She might be the queen of the Amazon, but she's just a normal person at the end of the day as well.
He taught her to love, and that's like the big thing for her, is that she knows that like love is the most powerful thing she can use. It's a really nice relationship.
Exactly. And then we get we pan to sort of the here and now then, don't we? And she's sending a message back to Bruce saying, thanks very much for the picture, sort of thing. I mean, she's really good. And she looks over, I think it's over the London, isn't she? She's looking over, is it Paris?
Paris.
She's in Paris now, sorry. In Paris, and she just does this big leap, doesn't she? And that's sort of like the end of the film. Now, is there any end credits on this one, Jamie?
I don't believe so.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've got it playing now. I can't see any. Hold on a sec. Let me just double check, because if we get this wrong, I'll never at the end of it. If I get this wrong, I don't remember them being any end credits. I'm pretty sure.
No, I think they specifically didn't want to for this one, because I think how many Justice League, Suicide Squad are the only two that have post credits.
Yeah, I don't think doing DC, do they really? It's a Marvel thing. I mean, Marvel now, it might as well be a different film at the end. There's that many of them, isn't there?
Yeah.
No, so we've come to the end of the film, and what a great film. What a great film and a great experience, I must say. Now, Jamie, are you ready to give us your review score?
Yes, I am. I'm going to send it to Asgard. I think for it being the best so far female directed led superhero movie, it's a big deal, and it'll be remembered for that, fondly for that, as time goes by. And I think for, as well as the tone of this movie works really well for DC. I think they can have some of these darker DC movies that do a really good job of like pacing themselves with having moments of humor and levity, and I think this movie did it really well. We're taking this dark time period, but having a lot of like brightness and light shine through as well. And it's funny to think that with half the budget of Justice League, this movie looks better to me, and like with all these locations and everything. And I think Patty did a really amazing job as director for this film. So with all that, I got to send it to Asgard.
That's great. No, and I think as well, Jamie, I'm on the same wavelength as you. And I know Dave mentioned this last week. Me and Dave are going to have to start picking films that I enjoy and he hates, or vice versa. We're pretty close on reviewing at the moment. But
as long as it's not Generation X, or what was it with the X, whatever that one was. Oh, I can't even bring myself to try and remember the name. Because
in fact, we did talk about that last time, actually. In fact, we'll go on to that, but just have a dumb review, actually. Just,
you do your...
I'll do my score, because I'm laughing about that already. But I'm the same as you. I think, irrespective of whether it's a leading lady in the film, it's just a fantastic superhero film. And Gal Gadot is brilliant. Chris Pine is brilliant in it. It tells a story, an origin of Wonder Woman so well. And I think as well, since Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, I like Man of Steel. Man of Steel's a great one. I've got that Ultra 4K, edition and all that, Man of Steel. I do like that film a lot because it's Superman. And I think Henry Cavill's really good, but I think this is actually better. This is the highlight of what DC should be doing and the standard they should be doing to compete with the MCU, because they flag behind on a lot of these films, but this one stands head and shoulders above anything that DC have done since 2008 or 2012.
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, sorry. It's 2006 was Batman Begins. When it 2008 was Dark Knight, and then 2000. So it genuinely stands head and shoulders. So I'm with you. It's definitely got to go to Asgard, without a doubt. It's a fantastic film,
and it's a great way for it's a perfect origin story that is also inside of a bigger universe where it's like we'll acknowledge Bruce Wayne, we'll acknowledge the other characters, but it's a true origin story. We're not gonna bring in or try and mash up other characters. It's what a standalone should be for a comic book movie. If you're gonna make a standalone, keep it just that main character story.
No, I agree. No, great. I'm really good, and thanks for coming on. But Jamie, before you go, have you got any quotes from your husband Paul actually regarding Generation X that I made you watch when I sent you the link?
He couldn't bring himself to watch it. I can watch bad movies for what they are, but I could only get through the first 20 minutes of this one, and I was like, I got the gist of it. But after listening to you guys' episode 2, I was like, we all you guys hit on the things that I had noticed as well, and that Jim Carrey impersonation, man,
that is horrendous, isn't it?
At the peak of Jim Carreydom, this is going on, and it's funny from an actor I knew as a kid who I liked in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and he's going for it. He's like, I'm there's no doubt that he knows exactly what he's doing and who he's impersonating. It's a bold choice, but it's a special movie.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, we said the same, and obviously, like you say, listen to the podcast. I honestly think he was getting a bet, or he was getting paid extra to do full-on Jim Carrey. It's not just a little bit; it is a full-on mask Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey. And like you said, it feels like he's doing a skit on Saturday Night Live or something as Jim Carrey. A parody. It was really bizarre that he would just go he's not even forgiving on it, and he just genuinely, it's awful. Because obviously we're talking about Wonder Woman, but I'm so glad. He messaged me saying I lasted 20 minutes, and
I want an apology.
No, you're not having one. We've had to endure that. I'm sorry. You and Paul have had to endure it as well. I'm so sorry. Oh, you have, obviously. Paul saw the...
Yeah, he was I can't do this.
No, he made the right decision, I think. But no, it doesn't get any better. It's an absolutely terrible film. And it must be terrible because it's on YouTube, the full film. Nobody's even said to him, we want our copyright back. They've just said, right. You can have it. If you can make money off that, then, good on you, because Marvel have just don't want anything to do with that absolute abomination. It's terrible.
There's a podcast out there called, I don't know if you heard it, called How Did This Get Made? And they only talk about bad movies.
Oh, did they?
So one day, if they ever get to talk about this, I'll be really happy just to hear, because they have an appreciation for bad movies, but they have no problem also calling out ones that have significant flaws in them. So
please, will you send us a link to them? I'll try and find them, because it'd be interesting to point our episode to them. Because obviously me and Dave don't hold back on that, and it's just an absolute disgrace of a film.
Oh no, they're great. They're 3 comedic actors from the US, and then they also bring in other comedians too to guest on different episodes, and they've been doing it for 5 years, and it's great. This is a perfect movie for them to do.
It is, to be fair. I'll have to send them our episodes so they can listen to it. Oh, that'd be great. I'm going to send you, actually. I'll send you the vlog for Harry Potter. You can watch the Harry Potter. It's only a brief one. It's only mainly pitched because I put it together off old footage, so it's not the best, but it's workable. You can see what's there, especially you can compare it more to what you guys have got, and obviously you've worked there, so you know it all so closely. But no, Jamie, thank you so much for today, and thanks for coming on again. And hopefully we've got a full episode this time. There's no messing about. Before we go, I just want to say a big thank you to Sudio, which this episode's sponsored by. Please get on our Facebook and Twitter channels, which is Twitter is at Comics Emotion P and Comics Emotion Podcast on Facebook. The competition is pinned on Twitter and pinned on Facebook. No excuses. All you've got to do is leave a 5-star review. Well, not really 5-star, but leave a review for us on iTunes. UK listeners only, and we'll pick a random winner out, which we've got a few reviews from the competition. So somebody's going to be getting a nice headset of their choice at some point. And also, if you're not lucky enough to win the competition, if you do fancy a headset, if you go on there and put in Comics in Motion Podcast 15, as in 15 at the end, at the checkout, you'll get 15% off. Now, Jamie, what plugs have you got for us? Where can we get us? And also, please mention, which you didn't mention at the start, about your screenplay as well before you go.
Yeah, I wrote a screenplay. It's on fanfiction.net. It's titled Nightwing and Batgirl Year One. So if you want to check it out, you can go there. If you are on Twitter, you can find me on Twitter at JDMaria124. I have a link for the fanfiction, or a link to my screenplay on fanfiction on my Twitter profile as well. And that's about it.
Good stuff. And I will also put them links in the bio of this episode, James, for anyone out there who's listening and wants to either get in touch with you or read it as well, which it's a great read as well. So Jamie needs more exposure with this sort of thing because she's really talented. So let's get it out there, Jamie. And obviously, when your film is made, myself and Dave will be coming to the premiere dressed as Batman and Robin. So that'll be fine. Okay.
Yes. And you have to send it to Asgard.
Of course. I don't want a Generation X type situation, Jamie. No, we're not having that. Not at all. But no, just a couple of plugs as well before we go. The Chat Footy podcast is back tomorrow. Should be going up on Monday. That's the Chat Footy on Twitter and on Facebook. And Grassroots Coachcast, which is Dave's podcast, should be going on the next couple of weeks talking about youth football or soccer. Jamie, Dave and Ben, his friend, are both youth coaches in soccer. So Dave does an all-girls team and Ben does a boys team, and they just talk about football and soccer, for you guys. And then obviously I've got my vlogging channel, which is CPod78 Vlogs on YouTube, where I've got like a New York vlog on there, a Harry Potter vlog, and a couple of others as well. And I went to Las Vegas, and I'll be doing it's all leading up to my trip in November for when I go for my 40th. So yeah, I think that's it. Again, thank you so much, Jamie.
Thank you.
Star, for coming on, and apologies for last time. There was some sort of technical problem. Let's hope there isn't this time. And that's it. So Jamie, you take care, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.
To the war.
Well, technically the war's that way, but we got to go this way first.
How can a woman fight in this? Ooh.
Who's this young woman?
She's my
Diana, Princess of Himmel's
Prince, Diana Prince. I believe that this war should stop. Help me stop it right now.
You will soon find out.